Ba-da-da-dum. Thank you, Joel
it.
Felsenstein. I love that. I say it every single time. It never gets old, and I don't care. It's so fantastic. Joel Felsenstein of Rockstar X, he is a champion of the autistic and neurodiverse world. Different, not less. I love that. Today, welcome back to another Stand Up for Change. What do we do with our 3 shows? I get asked that all the time. So at HR for You Incorporated, we have 3 shows. We have our Time to Change podcast we put out every single Friday with our Funky Friday post, our skating post. I love that. Everybody knows, man, I cannot wait to find a skating rink close by. There's none anywhere near me. There's ice skating rinks, which is great, but it's not the same. It's just not. Yeah. I played hockey, so it's just not the same. But you cannot see all the crazy scars. If you're up close and personal, you're like, wow, you really do have a Vulcan eyebrow. That's 22 stitches, high sticking, but that's another story. Today, Stand Up for Change is where we get to talk about our partners. We get to talk about who they are, their journey, what they're doing, introduce them to you and the world. It is my privilege and pleasure to introduce you to Dawnell Kelly. She is the founder of the Optimized Veteran. She was a shipboard firefighter. Like, that's a thing, people. That's a real thing. And she is a mom, an incredible wife, an incredible partner. We are so thrilled to have her. Give it up, people. Thank you. I'm looking for a better one, but I haven't found it yet. It's
all good.
It's good enough. It's good enough.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
It works. So the very first question I ask every single person that comes on is, even if somebody was following you, what is something that you're willing to share with the audience that they may not know about you?
Ooh, that's a good question. You don't even give me categories, are you? It's just anything.
It can be personal. It can be professional. Something that, hey, I follow you on all these social media things. You may not know this. May not know this.
I got you. I like to sing Disney songs with my family.
There you go.
Love it. Yeah. We're talking 90s Disney too, all right?
Oh, yes.
Classics. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, Dawnell, the first part of this is talking about your journey. So I'd love for you to tell us about your early life, how you got into the military, and then we'll kind of just go from there.
Yeah, sure. So I know I've been on here before and it was a totally different to vibe. So I'm excited to tell you the same background, but then how it's slowly weaved into the Optimized Veteran. So yeah, I graduated high school. I tried to go to college and I just wasn't ready yet. And I recognized that. So I put myself into the Navy and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do something that's not typical. I'm going to be a shipboard firefighter because why not? You know, I was very strong mindsets even back then. So
what is that? What is that?
Yes. So it's called a damage controlman, right? And basically it's a shipboard firefighter / engineer. And quickly I realized I liked training other people and I liked the military a lot because it is what it is. Right? There's no variables. It was the same information over and over. It was just that people were different. And I really liked being able to say, you know, I don't care how smart you are or what your rate is here. If we're on fire, nothing else matters. So you really need to pay attention. This is the most important thing you will ever learn when we're on deployment, right? So I was like, yes, this is awesome. I'm making a difference. It's super important. But then, you know, when you hit around 25 years, of age, like your prefrontal cortex, you know, kind of matures and you start thinking critically. Well, some of us start thinking critically, right? I was one of those. And, you know, you start questioning things and you can't really do that in that environment. It's not safe. And so I dramatically left. That's another story. I dramatically left active duty. And then I shifted gears and went to the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. And I got a degree in psychology and kinesiology. And it's awesome, right? Mind body connection. I was rocking it. I was like, ooh, I'm going to train people on health and wellness. So I would create these procedures similar to like in the military. And then I would treat these civilians like, just do it and reach your health goals. I could not conceptualize that people aren't robots. I was frustrated. I'm like, if you just follow this plan, I took into account how you think, how your body works, it doesn't matter. That's when it hit me. We're not logical. I don't care how much you understand about the brain. It doesn't matter. You need to understand the person and their deeper drivers, right? I didn't really get a degree in that. So I had kind of a Ricky Bobby, what do I do with my hands moment, right? We were talking about that before this. And so I bottomed out with a mattress on the floor, just questioning life. Like, I did everything right. What am I missing? Something is missing. So I tried, spiritual practices, meditation, inner and outer healing work, vitamins. Like, I tried everything. And it took a few years to slowly culminate. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to help people with project management, or I'm going to create life balance by design. Or I'm like, I couldn't figure out how to take all this experience and knowledge and put it in a way to serve other people. I know I like training. I like helping people reach their goals. I like helping people get healthy. And I'm just fumbling. And I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but as an entrepreneur, I feel like there's a lot of start and stops, and you have to really push through, find that inner power, and then figure out, oh, this is who I'm meant to serve. And then things start falling into place. And so when I realized the root cause of my trauma, and when I really started to pivot into who I am today, it was when I became a veteran, because I didn't have the support I needed. It was kind of like, okay, bye, figure out how to be an adult. And they help you with getting a degree and getting a job, but like, I didn't know who I was. And so anyway, long story short, I came up with the optimized veteran because I realized there's this huge gap when you're transitioning from military to civilian. It's like, here's how to get a job. Here's, maybe here's how to pay your bills, but it's not like, what do you want to do with your life? Who are you now? Let's establish, find some meaning, passion, purpose. And then how do we involve your family into this transition? It's kind of a mess. For me, that was my experience, and all my veteran friends. It's just like, some of them are still lost today. Like, they have jobs and they look successful, but some part of them is just like, I just don't know. I don't have that same sense of purpose as I did when I was on active duty, So it's been a wild ride, but now I realize, you know what? I'm meant to help veterans. I can make a huge difference in the homelessness and the suicides and the anxiety and the depression. It's just, there's a lot of good out there, and I'm so grateful for just being connected with you and your support through all of these just pivots that I've made. And now that I figured it out, it's just like, I feel so blessed, like this is what I'm meant to do. And I want every veteran to feel the same way. I can't wait.
That's awesome. Let's back up for a minute. Back up. So you you said briefly, and if you don't want to go into it, we'll
give it to me.
I got a few questions, so it's all good. But you said you left the military dramatically. I told you, that this is my third year of mentoring veterans that are transitioning, and with a company called ACP. And Elisa, thank you for joining us. My wife, Jody, is on here as well. Elisa just signed up, and she's going to be mentoring veterans. So,
amazing.
I'm really
thank
thrilled.
you.
This is her first chance to get it down, and I'm thrilled to see what she's going to do. But what happened? What were, some of the circumstances, and what happened during that time period as you were getting ready to leave the military?
So there was some, I guess, for lack of a better term, unhealthy relationship dynamics, unhealthy. Now I know that they are, now that I've been through therapy, but I guess there's like an imbalance of power when it comes to relationships sometimes, especially with hierarchies in the military. And I wasn't aware of that. I was young. I was naive. I thought I was in love. And it wasn't the case. And so what I did to cope with some of the downs and ups and downs of that kind of relationship was drink. And one night I drank too much and I got triggered and I drove. Thankfully, I only made it like a block before I got pulled over. So that's good. But that was a really traumatic awakening. Like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? What am I doing with my life? I need to rethink this. I think I'm done here. And so it wasn't just a, oh, well, it was like something huge and jarring like that had to happen where it makes you rethink your whole life. And I feel like those kind of bottom out moments are really what help shape and define you. So that was my number one bottom out moment, my first one. And then the second one was after another huge shift, after I got a 4-year degree. So again, I did a period, I was in a structured environment, and I get out and I try to repeat that environment out into this world where I have all this freedom, and it doesn't work. And so it just started to unravel again. So I feel like if I would have had the tools and support and knowledge on how to be a person in place, hey, this is normal. Hey, here's some healthy coping tools. Hey, let's do a quick mental health check-in and not just take Motrin if you get a headache. You know what I mean? Like they're always doling on Motrin. I don't know if you've heard that, but there's never like, hey, let's check in and see how you're doing. It's just like, you know, you get what you get, and then they need to make room for the next person who's young and in shape and can do the work. It's not about being healthy mentally. So yeah, it was definitely getting pulled over for drinking, the first one. And then the second one was just complete mental breakdown. So it wasn't one event. It was just spiraling until I hit rock bottom. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And sometimes that's exactly what happens. I know for myself that there was a place and a time where that exactly those similar type things happened. Yeah. And, you know, my car was my house at one point, and that was taken away from me because I didn't own the car. Right. And so that was taken away from me in an act of tough love. And yeah, it's like, now what do I do? Now, where do I go? Now what happens? And that's hitting that wall to realize that you need help. And that's the biggest thing. We talk about it in 12, you know, in the 12 steps. It doesn't matter what group you're in or what you believe. That first step is realizing that you need help and that you're powerless. Whether it's your addiction, whether it's mental health, whether it is, hey, I just don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know where I'm going. But that first step for anything is realizing where you are and that you can't move any further until you get some help. Yeah. And that's not easy. It's not an easy place to be. And like you said, sometimes it's hitting a wall before you actually get there.
It's like you're forced to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just like you said, you know, it's painful at the time, but I'm absolutely blessed that I got to a place where I had to, because otherwise, who knows how long or what would have happened next. So I'm glad that we have gotten to places where we can move through it and we can move on.
Right.
My next question is, what the heck is I can't even say it. Kinesiology?
Kinesiology, yeah. Exercise physiology, basically how the body works and how to improve it, right? It's usually a precursor to physical therapy, occupational therapy, things of that nature. I didn't want to go that route because I had already just got so excited about being able to come up with my own plans and not just follow one path. I wanted to be able to help people with multiple things.
So how do you know, I think about some of the work that you've done for HR for You, and a lot of that was around project management and structuring and design. So, I mean, where your brain goes on that and how you see things is like incredible. So how are you taking these things that you've learned and what's happened in your life and focusing in this to create plans in the Optimized Veteran?
So now what I'm doing is creating the frameworks and then allowing the veterans to come in and create their own plans. So I have structured frameworks taking you through and going, what is going on with your life right now? What do you want? They need to figure out what they want, or I can't help them with anything. So I help them figure it out, judgment-free, help them figure out the emotional intelligence side of things and give them coping mechanisms for when things pop up so they don't turn to drinking or medication or anything else. Once we figure out what they want, how to solidify emotional and mental health, get some structure in place, Then I can take them through a simple planning process. The planning part is easy for us. We know how to put things in order and do them. The execution is not hard. It's the emotional piece. It's the what do I do with all this free time piece. That's the front load work that I'm really trying to help with. Now, as far as my degree goes, what I got to do was take people's goals. It was just health goals because it was kinesiology. What are your goals? What are you trying to do? Okay, how does your body work? How does your mind work? Let me take all this stuff that's so overwhelming to you because you've been trying to reach these goals for 5 years, break it down, and then hand it to you. The trick here is those people aren't just robots. It's not something that you can just do without the emotional piece. So I've had to develop that part, that resiliency part, and then build in flexibility, which is something we are terrible at. So if you have the perfect plan and we have the tools and then life happens, life doesn't happen on the ship. You get orders, you follow the orders, and that's it. You go to bed or you get yelled at, whatever. Out here, your kid might need something, you blow a tire, somebody, there's so many options out here. So you need a whole other bucket of tools to help you deal with that. And then get this, let's say you complete some things on the list and then you realize, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This is not what I thought it was. You don't berate yourself and push down and you have to go through it and you have to do it anyway because you said you would and you're committed and you're loyal and whoa, you're a civilian now. You can change your damn mind if you want to. And here's the tools on how to do it. And here's how to do it without judging yourself or getting depressed or being anxious about it. And here's how to do it while opening up to your family and asking for support. So you're not doing everything alone in your own head, right? So there's all these different threads over the last 10 years of experience that I have that are finally coming together now that I know who I'm meant to serve. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's awesome. And I love the way you break it down. What do you think, what do you think is the best way that this is going to help veterans that are struggling to even come up with a plan? Like, how do you think it helps them develop that beginning to say, you know what, I don't even know, where to go. I know I need help, but I don't know how. And I don't
That's
know.
exactly what I addressed. So the whole front part of this is broken down into 2 parts. The first part is civilian identity training. The second part is civilian life training. So the identity part is exactly that. They come in, and that's the whole point. They don't know anything. Okay, this is what I did. Oh, okay, who are you? Well, I'm a shipboard firefighter. Okay, no. That's what you did. And all these transition assistant programs are going to tell you, here's how to get a job. Here's how to translate it into a career. Here's how to get a degree. But none of them are saying, who are you? How do you want to find meaning in your life? What are you passionate about? So I have a very specific process to take them through, to dig deep, but it's in a safe environment. So they're not like, who's judging me, or my buddy's going to make fun of me, or my family's going to think I'm weak. Or you get in your own head. It's like, no. It's just me and you, bud. Give it to me. And I'm going to say some words that are maybe not the most appropriate on a live stream, but veteran to veteran, they will probably understand the words that I'm going to use if they're trying to get in their own head. I will draw it out. And that's another thing, is I can be myself with them because they get it. And I never understood that before. I'm very direct, just do it. And they understand that, and they will respect it, and they'll appreciate it. So it's like, here, let's go through these exercises together, figure out what's going on. And guess what? How about next month when you're a new person, right? You're always growing and evolving. These things will change. And so this is a flexible, reusable, rinse and repeat process that I've created, because who you are today is not who you're going to be in 5 years. I mean, think about it. Who were you 10 years ago, 5 years ago? We're always changing, and we're not, that's not our frame of mind. This is how it is. And then we just try to be our military self for 40 years, and something is always missing. And we're always miserable. And our family's like, why didn't you get the support you needed from the VA?
Yeah. Well, that's a whole, we could take an entire show to talk about the VA. We could take an entire show to talk about the VA.
I know it. Yep. So yeah, it's basically, oh, thanks, Jody. I love it. So it's really important to figure out who you are and what you want. The planning part is easy. You can plan anything if you know what the thing is. I need to help you figure out your identity. Then I need to help you get emotional. I need to be able to teach you how to take all these emotions that are going to come up, just like with any major life change, and turn them into strength and hone them into like a spiritual shield. When you can get that down,
Yeah.
When you have your shield, you know who you are, you got your armor on, then let's sit down and talk about making a plan, because we're going to,
I love that.
Mhm.
Now, what about somebody that thinks that they have a good handle on who they are and approaches you? Like, does that mean they just go into the second phase? Like they'll just skip the whole first phase and kind of go into the second, or is it like an abbreviated thing that you do to like, okay, let's figure that so that I understand where you are and what's happening. You're like, how do you approach that?
Yeah. So thankfully, after this beta run that I'm about to do, it's going to be, the videos will be recorded, and then it'll just be Q&A live with me. So that way you can do the videos on your own, kind of go through, pick what works, what doesn't, then come to me and go, hey, I have a question about this. What do you think about that? And then they're probably going to ask me a lot of questions on how to plan. And I'm going to go, what exactly are you trying to plan? And they're going to go, well, this is who I am. And it's not going to be detailed enough. Or it's going to be someone that they thought they were 5 years ago. Oh, well, this worked for me. It's like, I don't know if this is common in the regular world, but with my degree, it's like, oh, well, I did these exercises in high school, so they should still work. It's like, your body is so different right now.
Different,
Absolutely not. I need to do a full assessment on this right now. It's the same thing with your identity. I know who I am. Do you? Do you really?
Do you really? Yeah.
When's the last time you sat down and asked what you want out of life and who you are?
I can't. If I tried to do some of the stuff that I used to do at 20, I would have a heart attack. I'm for sure Jody would be like trying to figure out how to get me, into the car. Because it's like, I can't do that. Now, I got I'm staring at my bike right over here. I've got my bike in here in the office with me, and then one for my desk, like a pedal one, which I can't do all the time because I'll have it and I'll be on a call and people are like, what are you doing? Because I was like, you can't. You're like,
you do it on the call.
You're like this, and they're like, hey, what's happening? Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you while I'm, like, no, that doesn't work. It doesn't work.
That's like a phone call thing, not a video thing.
No, it's not.
You put a green screen behind you and it's like you're going on a mountain.
Which is, you know what? I'm down for having more phone calls. Like anytime that someone says to me, yeah, you know what? Do you mind if we have a phone call? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, no. Any chance that I could not do a video thing, I'm like, yes. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. And that's also part of being flexible, is just you think one way of doing things and that's it. And it's like, well, there's probably 6 other ways to do exactly what you're doing in a different way. And newsflash, day to day, your energy changes. And that's the thing we have trouble with too, is it's like, here's the plan. I just do the same thing. It's like one day you're out of bed and you have your list and you have all this energy. And the next day it's like, you have trouble just getting out of bed and taking a shower. Like your mental health is just down. That's okay. You need to have those down periods to have the up periods. It's like seasons of the weather, but we're not trained that way. We think there's something wrong with us if we need downtime to literally do nothing. And it's like, no, we need to build that into your plan. Yeah, the should shaming.
Shame ourselves. And that's, and that voice, we talked about this off camera, but, and I posted about it recently. I call that monkey, that wraith, that demon that sits there, I call it Junior. And I am learning that, if there's a day that, I need to not get up at 5:30, okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like. If there's a day that I need to stop and not go to some of these shows that I was going to go to and step outside and get into Mother Nature, then that's what I need to do, because your body's going to tell you, your mind's going to tell you. And I'm trying to listen to the good things and not the other things.
Yep. You got to discern. And that's part of what we teach you too. You got to figure out your it's all good, Jody. Don't even worry about it. I love that.
I can't even see it. It's so small. I'm like, what does that say?
It's big on mine. I can see it. But yeah, it's important to understand the difference between fear and intuition, right? So fear is usually just telling you things that make you feel anxious, whereas intuition can be maybe a little apprehensive, but more like, if you like roller coasters, let's say you're like excited before you get on it. Like you're still elevated, but it's not scary. You're just like, ooh, yeah. but you're not just like calm, so you got to find the difference. Are you scared or are you just kind of like excited a little bit? Are you being driven like, ooh, I'm kind of excited to like kind of just take the day off. I don't know. It feels good. And then you just lean into it,
So talk more about the beta test. What are you doing with the beta test?
So basically, I'm going to have a limited amount of veterans, just like an entry-level 14-day trial. And I'm going to give them the civilian identity training. And I want like all the feedback. And then if they like it, then they can stay on a monthly membership. And then we just continue those calls. And then I will give the rest of the training, like bring in your life here. Let's figure out what you want to do with all this information we just figured out. And then I don't know if it'd be too overwhelming for them, but I think maybe like month 6 or 7, I want to bring in the families because they get so much. They give so much, but they don't get as much support. It's all about the veteran, which makes sense initially, but like their lives are upended too. And so thankfully these are frameworks and it's not just like only for someone who has transitioned out. Like if you are struggling with your new identity, your life is taking a major shift, like bringing a spouse home full time, then you need this too. Like you need to figure out who you are now and how you want to show up and what you want. Because sometimes if you make this perfect plan, but you don't consider everyone else in your household, that's not fair to them. You should all have your North Stars and be able to blend them together and grow together as a family too,
Well, the family serves just like the veteran does. So
but is there any real transition programs for them? I don't think so.
No.
So they deserve it too.
Yeah. No, I love that you're trying to pre-plan that out. And I like how you're approaching getting people involved and allowing them to see the program, get involved with it, give you feedback. Like that's really intuitive. That's really, really a great idea. And when are you starting that? When are you starting the beta?
Oh, I'm trying not to get in my own head. I just put up, you get so excited. You're like, oh man, but that's why I need to build this community because I need to be a part of it too. I feel like I've been kind of floundering finding my veteran tribe too because it's just, it doesn't exist yet. I'm building it and I need it. So basically my website's down there, dawnellkelly.com. It's just a simple opt-in page for people who want to apply to be in the beta. I just want to make sure you're in the right headspace because there are veterans out there that have more serious mental health challenges and they need professional help. It's just, I feel like if you don't have those mental health challenges, then you kind of just get like, you're good enough. They don't really focus on you unless you're like emergency mental health mode. So those are the ones that I want to focus on. Yeah. Like they're functioning, but they're not healthy or happy. They're just, anyway. So so the application's up on there. And then what I'm doing on the back end is I'm going to create the Facebook group. And so we'll be able to have the community there. We'll have the course portal online, right? So if you apply and get accepted, then you'll get immediate access. And then after 14 days, I'm going to give a founder's discount. It's going to be 50% off. And then it's just a cancel anytime monthly membership. Like I only want you here if you want to be here. If you're finding value, great. If you're not, like, have a good day. Gotcha. I know it's going to help so many people that I'm not worried about locking people in. Like,
no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
makes absolute sense. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it. Have you thought down the road of adding people that are veterans but are in that kind of like licensed professional kind of health space to add towards the end of your program or add as an addition to what you're doing?
I think what would be helpful, because this isn't just a course, like you finish it and you're done. The membership piece, the part of it is because we're meeting ongoing weekly live, not just one-on-one, but I mean, as a group. So you're building relationships with other people who get it. It's like finally a space for us veterans where we could just lay back, be ourselves and talk a bunch of crap, but also talk about our goals and like, it's just a different vibe. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, if you know, and you want to be around other people who know. But I think what I will expand to do is have like guest speakers to come in and do trainings. And then it's like, oh, I really need that person. Okay, now go work with them too then. So I think that might be good. And then this might morph into who knows. Like, I know what I'm meant to do and I feel this burning passion, right? This is what I meant. And then it's going to grow as the community grows. They're going to tell me what they need, and I'm going to tell them what I need. And we're going to kind of just let it flow, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get into the VA.
Ah,
You know, be a referral source. Like, hey, here's how to get a job. Also, if you want to build a life, optimized veteran.
love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, let's as we're winding down, let's talk about any of the pieces that you want people to know about. So we have your website. We've been streaming it this whole time. It's going to keep on going. But is there anything in particular that you want veterans to know, or anyone who is a spouse or a friend of a veteran, anything that you want to just kind of hone in on and just say, hey, look, I can't say this enough. So we'll give you another opportunity to say, look, these are the people that I'm trying to serve. And here's what I'm trying, here's what we're creating, not trying, you're actually creating.
Yes.
And what, so what does that look like one last time for people to kind of hone in on that?
Yeah. So basically my deeper passion, my purpose is, if you consider thousands and millions of veterans getting the results that I am bringing to the table, then homelessness decreases, suicides decrease, depression, anxiety, right? So we are making a global impact. This isn't just me helping you figure out who you are. It's helping me figure out who you are so you can go and do something about it and make your own impact. It's called the ripple effects. And so now that I finally figured out what I meant to do and how I meant to serve, I'm going to help you figure out what you're meant to do, who you're meant to serve, and then go out and do that. And then I'm not going to say, I was going to say it isn't past tense, but basically I can already see it. I love hearing from veterans that have been part of my membership come back and go, oh my God, guess what I did with my life? Oh my God, guess what my spouse did? Oh my gosh, my family and I just did blank. I want to fill in those blanks. I cannot wait. It's going to be great.
That's awesome. That is awesome. At the end here, you've been a member with us for a long time, and you came on in 2022. You're one of the OGs, like, coming on in, and I appreciate you so much. You have been a great partner for HR for You. You have really helped us when we were struggling with finding some of the steps that we needed to take. So you will notice now on the website that I got your new logo up. It's in the very front on the home page. There's a ticker for that. And I will update the partners page for you as well. And get that when I have I've got now your bio and some other stuff. I'm going to clue that in and get that taken care of by this weekend, have that up and going. But I got your new logo up, got your new link to your website up right on the home page. And thrilled because, we're trending to get over 300,000 people that view that homepage alone.
It's amazing.
So I am so excited for what you're doing. So excited for you being a part of this and creating anything that we can do. We are thrilled to do it with you and for you, because you've just been so awesome and we love you to death. So thank you for being on the show. Thank you for taking the time to see us and tell us your story. And also thank you for taking time away from your family just to tell everybody about what you're doing. So I love it. Give it up one more time.
I'm going to have you on my podcast, Chason, so I can do the same for you. Okay. I
love it.
It's coming out, but when I do it, it's happening.
Whenever it happens, I'm ready to rumble. Ready to rumble. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and I'll actually see you very soon. Actually, this time next week, you and Matt, two veterans in the house. We're going to be talking about all of this, and we're going to make sure that we talk about that transition story. So thank you for joining us. We will catch you next time. Be on the lookout for all things HR for You, and for this lady right here, Optimize Veteran. Thank you, Dawnell Kelly. Have a great one.